Hello, everyone from the Linguistic Pluralism class. I hope you are doing well. I wanted to just touch base with you and see how you're doing. And I'm going to open up with a poem that I shared with you through GroupMe, but I would like to read it out loud for us to reflect on what we are going through right now. And the poem says, "And the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows. And the people began to think differently, and the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed." So I want you guys to think about what you're going through, what we're going through right now. And unfortunately, I know you can't respond because this is a recording, but you can always reach out to me through email if you need me or group me. And I wonder, how's it going with you? Are you thinking of new ways of living? Or maybe some of us might be being lazy and we're sleeping a lot more or snacking a lot more. So, how are you dealing with our current events right now, staying home and not returning to campus? Have you thought about different ways of being, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, or social? And through it all, I want you to remember that you are not alone, that we will get through this together, and that we have to just find new ways of being. So, for example, I attended a lot of Instagram concerts that artists are having, some Instagram parties too, gospel parties, and famous DJs are hosting parties. So, we got to find a new way of connecting. I have happy hour through Zoom with my friends. So, find ways of staying connected during this difficult time. Okay. So now we're going to move on to course content, and I would like to talk about Module 5. So because we are not returning to campus and we don't know when schools will be opening, we will not be doing Module 6, which was your lesson plans implementation. So this is your last module for the semester, okay? But before I tell you what that is, I want us to reflect on something. So I've been noticing in like your work that you've been submitting that a lot of you would say that I want to be a teacher that treats everybody the same. I want to be equal and I want to treat every kid in my classroom the same so they know that they are loved. And I know that your intentions are well when you say things like that, but I want you to think a little deeper. So I just want you to take a little time and look at this image. What does it mean to you? So when you say I want to treat every child equal when you become a teacher, that means that you're going to give every child the same exact thing, which is the image to the left. And as you can see, depending on the child's height, or depending on the child's socioeconomic status, or depending on the child's linguistic background, or depending on the child's religious background, or depending on their child's cultural background, I can keep going on and on and on, that every child cannot be given the same exact treatment because we have to love our children and teach our children differently. Okay? For example, for me, when I was 1 year, I taught first grade. This was probably my third year teaching, and I taught first grade, and it was a self-contained classroom. So that meant that it was EIP classroom, and I could only have 14 students. So meaning that these students were not on grade level, and so I only had 14, which was considered a small class, so I can give them what they needed, right? So that year I had all boys. I had first grade, all boys, not on grade level, and I realized that I couldn't do the same thing that I did in the last 2 years, just because having an all boys classroom, the energy is different. And I had to learn, like, no, they cannot sit 30 minutes still. Like, I had to keep them energized. I had to keep them moving. So I couldn't be the same teacher that I was. So I want you guys to think about that, right? So are we a teacher that we're going to be striving to be equal? Or are we going to be equitable? So equitable is when we give our children what they need, depending on who they are and where they are when we get them, right? But now, what we also need to think about is, are we going to be a teacher that teaches for liberation? So I I think that it wasn't until maybe my third or fourth year teaching that I was a teacher that was teaching towards liberation, meaning that I was working to make the fence, make the gate, make whatever was blocking their learning the best that I can do. I was taking away those issues. For example, curriculum. So when I was a teacher, I was teaching at a school that had a guided, a scripted reading program, and that reading program had to be done an hour and 30 minutes every day, and it was a terrible reading program. It was my turn, the dog is on the box. Together, the dog is on the box. Your turn, the dog is on the box. I had to do that for 90 minutes. That was the same year that I had my all boys classroom. And I realized that this is not going to work. So I was a teacher that was fighting for liberation. And what I did was I closed my door and I gave my children what they needed. So I did the program. I did it for 30 minutes instead of an hour and 30 minutes. So when I did get observed, my boys knew exactly what to do. And then for the rest of the time, I did small group reading, I had learning centers, and I gave those children what they needed. So I want you to think about, for your next assignment when you're writing, I don't want to hear I'm going to be the teacher that gives every kid the same. I want you to think a little deeper, okay? I want you to think about how you're going to be an equitable teacher, and how are you going to use those resources that the children bring in and build on those resources, those linguistic resources, and how are you going to be a teacher that fights towards liberation, right? So there are no barriers. You know, we can't control everything, but how can you control curriculum? How can you control your classroom practices? How can you foster a classroom community? So you're taking away any barriers, and you're a teacher that is working towards liberation. Okay, so with that, this is what your Module 5 is going to be about. You're going to read 2 articles. One is Welcoming Kalina, and that will be in the folder. And then the other one is I Write to Show How Beautiful My Languages Are. That's another article. And you are going to watch episode 4 in that series that you already watched some of them. So you're going to watch episode 4 for the bilingual, multilingual classrooms. And usually you have like a template that you're going to do, and you have a summary of each article or video, but I'm going to switch it up a little bit for your last module. What I want you to do is I want you to write a 2-page reflection on these readings and videos that I just said here. And I want you to answer this question. How will you become a teacher that fosters linguistic pluralism? Okay, so I don't want to hear that I'm going to be a teacher that treats everybody the same. I would like you to cite the work from these readings with concrete examples, okay? So look, while you're reading Welcoming Kalina, what did that teacher do? She took some critical steps in fostering a linguistic pluralist class, okay? So what did she do to welcome Kalina and Kalina's language in the classroom? What can you learn from that teacher? The next article were teachers who only spoke English and they had multiple languages in that classroom. What did they do to honor the languages of their children? Okay, and then episode 4, what does that teacher do? She's another teacher that has multiple languages and she doesn't speak all those languages, which I know is our reality. So I want you to think about, take examples from these readings, and you can draw from readings from the entire semester if you want. You can go back to your reading responses, but I want concrete examples. Yes, I know you'll get books that have different languages, but I want you to dig deeper because I know that you can, all right? So Module 5, you're going to have these readings and video, and you're going to do a 2-page reflection. And I want you to cite the work. I want you to tell me, just like Kalina's teacher did, blah, 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 or just like in a reading response 3, where blah, 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 where Gloria Boutte did a contrastive analysis chart. I don't know, but I want you to give me concrete examples. I don't want to hear that you're going to have a diverse library. I know you will, but I want you to dig deeper. And if you have any questions while you're working, you can always send me a text. I'll be here to support you. Okay? If you have any questions or concerns, you can text me or email me, and I'm always here to support you.